welcome. Here we have some, I'm rebuilding my TL5. Preparing hard for the last race of the Tamiya Cup. And I'm working on the springs. If you notice, these are all Tamiya springs and I've sorted them by hardness. So these are red, yellow, blue, white. Red is softest, white is the hardest. The thing is, normally, I think you learned this somewhere before. If you want to compare springs, which one is harder, which one is softer. So for example, we'll take these two springs and then you try to squeeze them and you will see this one is harder than this one. And then if you squeeze these two together, these are the same. The thing with Tamiya is you might have the same color yellow, but some yellows are softer or harder than the others, so they're not exact. Yeah, so that's the thing. Right now I have these pretty matched, but I want to do one step better. So for example, white spring is normally used in the front and blue in the rear for typically a Tamiya setup. What I do is I use my caliper and I will try, it doesn't matter what I start with, so what I'm interested in is the delta. So for example, I'll squeeze this spring, it will go to a certain reading, 29.9, and then I'll apply pressure here to a certain degree that I am aware of. So it's now 24.6 from 29.8, again 25.3. So I do this a few times just to get some consistency. So 24, so let's call it somewhere 25.4. Wait, let me do it again. Let me try. Alright, so let's say 25, and then it extends to my caliper my caliper is old, so the reading goes off a little bit. So let's start again. 30, that's not the true length, so I think it's plus 10 already, or plus. So 30 to 34, that's around 4 mm. And then if I compare this one, another white spring, it's 30 to 33.8. I can squeeze it to 29.33. This one I can squeeze it to let me start again. Let me reset so let's start. 23, 29 to 33.6, and this one is 29.6 to 34. So what I'm trying to do here is find the spring with the bigger difference in measurement. So for example, 30.6 and it's 34.7, so that's about 4 mm, and this one is about 30 to 34.5, so 29, they're almost the same. So it's about 4 mm each. Pretty well matched. 30.59 to 34.7. So it's around 4, and this one is 30 to 34. So this compresses more based on the force I apply with my thumb, which is very precise. Very scientific, right? So I think this one is slightly softer than this one. And so what I will do is I will take this spring and place it on the left side, because the left side of my TA05 is slightly more heavier than the right side. I use a shorty, but I don't want to add more weight just to balance the chassis. I want it as light as possible. So the slightly stiffer spring will now go on the left side. This one on the right side. Yeah, so that's one way of a quick, dirty way to just find a way to try to measure spring hardness, softness relative to each other. Now, for example, I want to replicate the Xray spring. So this is an Xray short spring, 2.7, which is very common in on-road. And if I want to find the similar stiffness in a Tamiya spring that is long, what I do is I will take, let's say take this, squeeze it. All right, so it starts at 28.6, and if I apply pressure, it's 23.4. Let's say, so it's around 5. The delta is around 5. So 28 to 23, it's around 5. So what this is saying, since this is only 4, this is actually softer than this one. And just to correct myself, I think this is a Tamiya Blue, not white. And if I do the check here, you can see also that yes, this is softer than this. So the touring cars nowadays runs on the lighter side of the springs, softer springs, whereas the old Tamiya setups are more of a harder spring. But yeah, then again, there's also the what we call the leverage motion ratio, which is a different topic. But I think for the Tamiya, that's why it has stiffer spring, because the motion ratio is different. The angle of the shocks is also more, it's different. So, but in any case, whatever works, right? But yeah, knowing Xray springs are on the softer side, if I run this setup white blue and I will probably then try to go softer to see if it makes it better rather than go harder. Alright, so it's just caliper and your thumb, and take the readings of how much it compresses when you apply the same amount of force, and that should allow you to relatively compare your springs, match them. Yeah, it's nice to buy this case, so I match it from softest to hardest, and it makes it easy for me on the track to just say, okay, I need a slightly softer spring. I can just pick it out from the correct box. Soft, hard. Same red. These are all red, but this is soft red versus slightly harder red. Alright, enough for today. Hope that helps you. Alright, see you.